Hello and welcome to Move or Improve. I'm Debbie Miller, your host. Thanks for joining me today. And I'm going to pick up on a topic that I have been talking about in previous podcasts, but I'm going to talk about what your options are. Should you age in place? Should you stay where you are in your home, or should you move? And the logistics of what's involved with both of those choices is what I want to focus on, because one of the most difficult challenges that people face as they get older is whether to move out of their home or stay where they are and make improvements for safety and an easier lifestyle. Many older homes today aren't suited for aging in place. There's only about 10% of all homes are suitable for aging in place. So many people spend the money to retrofit their home. They can, add a chair lift or widen the hallways and doorways to allow for a possible wheelchair later on, but bathrooms most likely aren't suited for bathing or toilet use. And there's ways to improve access and usage of the kitchen and bath, but it will cost money. And a lot of people just say, oh, well, I'm not going to spend that kind of money. Well, that's a valid point. I mean, when you bought the house, many of my clients are longtime owners. And when they bought the house, they had kids. The kids were young. They could do the steps. But as you get older and the kids grow up and move out, what do you need with that house? You may not need that much space, and the configuration isn't suitable for one level living and ease of use. So how much money will it cost to do work to retrofit? Well, it depends on how much is needed to make your life easier and how much space there is to work with. Your home is a large part of your net worth, so spending money to improve your home will ease the day-to-day living, but you may not get the money back that you spend when you do have to sell, and at some point the house will have to be sold. Your home isn't a liquid asset. You can't easily convert it into cash. You can live in it. Certainly that's a big help. But staying at home or moving, either one, requires careful budgeting, planning, and making decisions that you might not have thought about before. And it takes time. Much of what you will deal with involves the emotional part of staying or going. And you have to sort through your treasures and collectibles and getting control of your life. If you are a pack rat or an accumulator, you've collected things over the years. If you've been in your house a long time, you've got the kids' treasures, you've got trips that you've been on, and you bought souvenirs and that sort of thing. So to age in place, let's talk about that a little bit first. Let's say you evaluated your other options regarding making a move, and you decided that you really want to stay put because you like your location, you like your neighborhood, you have friends, your doctors are here. But someday, no matter what, your home will be sold. So who is going to buy it? The aging in place features that you spent money on will not likely appeal to a younger buyer. And an investor will likely offer less for it since they will have to pull all the features out to create space for a potential younger buyer. So let's say you spend $30,000 to $60,000 or more on improvements, thinking that you can stay in your home till you're much older. But what if something happens after a relatively short time and you do need to move? Cash is king, and your financial flexibility is hampered with a house that may be difficult to sell. Sure, you love your home, but does your home love you? Even if you make improvements to ease daily living, there's maintenance of the roof, windows have to be replaced, the heating and air conditioning, lawn care, real estate taxes, and finding trustworthy contractors who won't take advantage of you can also be tricky. And the older you get, the harder it is to keep up with that maintenance. If you don't want to spend the money to make your home safe, well, you're likely to be at higher risk of an accident. Tripping and falling will find you in a place where you'll recuperate from a broken hip and perhaps never be allowed to return to the home you love. I have many stories about clients who had accidents in their home but weren't able to go back because the house was not safe for them and they were put into assisted living or nursing care. And too many times, I can't tell you the number in all the years I've been doing this, I've been around clients who have too much clutter to live in their home safely. They can't bend over to pick things up that block their path, or they have stacks of mail with bills in it that haven't been opened in months. Going up or down steps can be problematic. A lot of houses have their laundry facilities in the basement, and getting up and down with a load of clothes. Well, yeah, you can do that when you're in your 30s, but when you're in your 70s, it's a whole different thing. And sometimes these people are often confined to first floor space and they have limited access. A lot of times in a lot of the houses that are out there, there's just a half bath on the main level. Throw rugs can be tripped over. Stacks of magazines pile up and block the path. The habit of not staying organized will only get worse. And as you get older, your vision worsens and your reaction time can cause you to fall. And if you decide to stay and age in place, be sure to have a qualified home inspector inspect your home, the interior and the exterior. You need to know if there are any issues which need to be addressed before you can safely stay in your home. I've had a number of people who've had problems with the heating system, or they had leaks in the basement because a window was left open and it caused mold to get in. Things like that that you may not notice because you don't go down the basement very often and you don't know what to look for. That can affect the safety of the house. Now, if you go ahead and get bids for the work, you have to make your home safe, so you'll need to hire a contractor to do the work. Now remember, it should be someone with a certified aging in place designation, and that means they're CAPS, Certified Aging in Place Specialist. And the National Association of Home Builders bestows this designation on people who complete an intensive course in design and construction for aging in place. I have this designation, and although I have many years in construction and remodeling, I learned so much about adapting a home to age in place. So it's really a good idea to hire somebody who has that specialty. And you can locate a CAPS contractor by logging into www.nahb.org, and you can search for a CAPS designee by the state you live in. And you get the money for a remodel can be obtained by taking out a home equity line of credit, or you can get a reverse mortgage on your home. And I have someone coming on in a future podcast who can talk about that. Now, if you do age in place, you're going to need to get rid of some of your stuff because you have too much clutter to move around safely. And the older you get, the harder it will be to have the energy and the strength to sort through years of belongings. You need expert help. When you first bought your home, your children were young, and over the years you accumulated stuff, vacations, sports, family treasures that you were sure your children would want when they grew older. Well, now they're grown and gone, and they have stuff of their own. Some of the items you have may be things that they want, and some of it won't. They may already have a dining room set, and they don't use good china, so what do? The longer you delay in getting rid of these items, the harder it gets. It requires professionals to help you know what is valuable and what isn't. Connect with your children and family using Skype or FaceTime or even in person. Have them all come at once. Use colored stickers to indicate who gets what. Be sure to give them a deadline to get the items. That's very important. A lot of kids get busy with their own lives and they say, oh, I'll just wait and wait and wait. And then the house gets sold and their items don't get removed. So you need to get rid of those extra things so you can still get around while work is going on, because you're going to have contractors coming in to make upgrades and remodel the bathroom or the kitchen, widen doorways, and you don't need a lot of extra stuff. And you're giving your kids free storage space, and they need to come and get those items. And if they don't want them, tell them that if they don't come get them by a certain date, you're going to donate them, and that's it. So some of the things that come up are like photos and pictures and books. Those are some of the hardest things to organize or part with because people are very attached to their books. But if you don't know the people in the photos, why are you keeping them? Photos of the children growing up could be made into a collage or two or three, and you can give them to the kids. Or you can also have the photos scanned and saved on a thumb drive and send each child their own thumb drive, so that way they have memories of their childhood. Each person in the photos gets the thumb drive, and then that way everybody's happy. Nobody feels like you showed favoritism. Books can be sorted through, and unwanted ones can be donated to a group or a library or retirement home. I once had a client who had many, many books, but was moving into a much smaller space. So she decided to have a party, and she invited all her friends to stop by and take their favorite books with them that she wasn't going to take. And she wrote a little note in each one and made it special. And another client was a prolific painter. I mean, he had an entire basement collection of his paintings, and they weren't small paintings, they were huge. And they couldn't take them to his new home. So he invited friends to stop by and choose from the collection. And they all came by and took something, and ones that were left over were donated. Every decision that you don't make about your life and who should get what will be decided on by someone else. So if you fall and don't have a plan, or if you have a stroke and something happens, your children or someone who doesn't know you well will make the decisions on where you should go and who gets what. At the very least, your personal information should be organized so decisions can be made easily. You should have in one place your passwords, your contact information for your CPA, your financial advisor, your attorney, your Social Security information, your pension information if you have it, any Medicare information or other health insurance information. And of course, you should have a will and a medical directive and a power of attorney and other important documents in one place. And I've done podcasts on this, so you want to listen in on that too, because it's fairly simple to organize a good plan. Be sure to let the person acting on your behalf know where these things are. And please don't put them in a safe deposit box at the bank. If your children can't agree on what should be done with the family home, then you can have serious legal challenges. What if one child wants to sell and the others don't? If you have an only child and you don't make the decisions while you're able, that adds an undue burden to your child. And if you don't have children, then the court will decide by appointing an executor for your estate if you haven't named someone to act on your behalf. And this executor, all they do is they come in, they sort through things, they throw things out, they sell other things, they donate, but they don't know what you would have wanted. Maybe you have some treasures or collections that you wanted to be sure went to your sister or to another friend that you have. Well, they're not going to know that if you don't write it down. So these are some things you need to think about before contractors come in, because contractors will be coming in. Yeah, they'll be causing a mess, but they will be able to cover things with plastic and put up barriers so that the room that they're working in will be set apart from the rest of the house, but you will be inconvenienced for the time that they're there. So if you're doing a bathroom, for example, you need to be sure you have access to another bathroom, or sometimes it's better to just move out and live someplace temporarily for a week so you don't have to deal with the dust and dirt and the noise. So these are things you have to think about when you're going to age in place. You say, oh, I want to stay in my house. Well, what does that mean? Well, that means you're going to have to sort through things. You're going to have to make sure things are organized, and you're going to have to get ready for contractors.